Have you ever caught yourself thinking about thinking itself? Like you're sitting on the train, scrolling your phone, or lying in bed at night, and suddenly your brain is juggling 5, 10, maybe even 20 completely unrelated thoughts at once. Past mistakes you can't stop replaying, plans for a future that feels uncertain, errands you haven't done yet, conversations you wish had gone differently, and even deep, existential questions that make your chest tighten. And somehow, just for no reason at all, your mind decides it's bored and turns into a full-blown chaotic circus, flipping from one thought to another, leaving you exhausted, restless, and somehow empty. The weird part? We've gotten so used to this nonstop mental chatter that silence, real, deep, uninterrupted silence, feels strange, almost uncomfortable, like we're doing something wrong if our minds aren't constantly buzzing. It's like life itself is incomplete without the constant commentary, the relentless replaying of scenarios, the unending mental to-do lists, and the pressure to always think, plan, and analyze every single moment. And if you think this is just normal, just how life works, think again, because what I'm about to show you will completely change the way you experience your thoughts, your mind, and even reality itself. But here's the hard truth most people never stop to consider. Craving peace doesn't make you weak, and needing mental stillness doesn't make you lazy. You're not broken for wanting a moment without mental chaos. You're simply human. Thinking is an incredible tool, a razor-sharp instrument capable of solving problems, generating ideas, and guiding action. But carry it with you non-stop, every second of every day, and eventually that very tool starts cutting you. It starts to wear you down, leaving you exhausted, anxious, and trapped in loops that accomplish little to nothing. The reality is, you were never designed to live fully inside your own head, constantly analyzing, replaying, and calculating. Most of the time, the thoughts swirling around are not solutions. They're echoes, distractions, or mental noise, hijacking your attention and pulling you further away from what really matters. And yet most of us keep letting it happen, unaware of just how much power we give our own relentless thinking over our peace, clarity, and presence. Instead, you're looping, replaying conversations, rehashing arguments, imagining scenarios, and debating with ghosts in your own mind. And it's exhausting. Half the time, you don't even notice it happening. This isn't one of those videos about clearing your mind like a meditation guru perched on a mountaintop, humming and floating in some ethereal state. Forget the cliches. This is far more practical, far more grounded in reality. It's about understanding something most people never stop to notice. Constant mental activity, your endless inner chatter, your nonstop planning, your obsessive replaying of conversations, is not proof that you're awake or aware. In fact, more often than not, it's the exact opposite. It's a clever disguise, a smokescreen your mind sets up to keep you distracted, to keep you busy, while the deeper reality, the present moment, the life happening right in front of you, quietly slips by. Your thoughts become a busy work machine, spinning endlessly, while awareness quietly waits for you to stop long enough to notice it. If you've been feeling drained, restless, or as though you've forgotten how to just be, stay with me. Because when you understand why your brain does this, you'll never see stillness the same way again. Most people don't even realize just how loud their inner world has become. That constant hum of thoughts, worries, plans, and mental commentary has been running for so long that it feels completely natural, as if it's just how life is supposed to be. But here's the thing, familiarity doesn't equal health. Just because your mind never stops doesn't mean it's serving you. We've normalized racing thoughts the same way society has normalized overworking ourselves to exhaustion. Mental fatigue is celebrated as a badge of honor, as if the louder your mind, the more accomplished or worthy you are. And when your brain finally slows down, when it's not buzzing with tasks, worries, or imaginary future problems, it feels almost wrong. You feel behind. You feel inadequate. You feel like you're failing at life itself simply because you're not constantly spinning, constantly calculating, constantly trying to stay ahead. But true clarity never comes from a mind that's running at full tilt, endlessly spinning from one thought to the next. Real insight doesn't emerge from constant mental noise or overthinking every detail of your life. Instead, it shows up in the quiet spaces, in the pauses between the mental chatter, in those moments when you finally stop forcing answers, stop trying to control every outcome, and just allow yourself to be present. Think about it. Your most profound realizations, the ideas that have shaped your life, the solutions that suddenly appear out of nowhere, did they ever come while you were frantically overanalyzing, panicking, or obsessively planning? Probably not. They came in the shower, on a walk, staring at the ceiling, or while zoning out, when your mind took a break and let awareness rise naturally. Have your most powerful insights ever come in moments of frantic overthinking, spiraling, or panic? Probably not. They came while you were walking, in the shower, staring at the ceiling, or zoning out. Not because you were grinding your mental gears, but because you finally stopped long enough for a deeper awareness to surface. Your brain is like a snow globe. Shake it violently, tossing thoughts, worries, and distractions around without pause, and you'll never be able to see anything clearly. The chaos blurs everything, hides the details, and makes insight impossible. But set it down. Let it rest for a moment. Stop pushing, stop forcing, stop trying to control every idea. Slowly, almost magically, the chaos begins to settle. The flurry of thoughts drifts to the edges, and clarity naturally sinks to the bottom, revealing what was there all along, hidden, waiting, quiet, and ready to be noticed. Here's the truth you need to understand. Thought itself isn't the enemy. Thinking isn't the problem. It's necessary, useful, and powerful. The danger comes when thought never stops. When your mind is in constant motion, running on autopilot, every idea, worry, and judgment piling on top of the last, it becomes a relentless storm of noise. That noise drowns out the subtle signals, the quiet insights, the intuitive understanding that's always been there. The louder your mental static grows, the smaller the space becomes for genuine awareness to emerge. And here's the most important part. Awareness isn't something you have to chase or force. It isn't hidden, it isn't earned, it's already present, quietly resting beneath all the clutter, lying in wait for the moment the dust finally begins to settle. And here's where things start to get truly fascinating. The moment you stop gripping every fleeting thought, the ones that pop into your mind like unwelcome notifications, you begin to see a surprising truth. Most of these thoughts aren't serving you at all. They're old, worn-out fragments, leftovers from worries you've already chewed over, rehearsed arguments you've played out 100 times, anxieties that your mind keeps rerunning like a scratch record. They dress themselves up as urgent problems, demanding your attention, waving red flags in your mental landscape. But the reality is they're just echoes. Echoes of tension, residue from the past, pretending to be immediate crises that absolutely need your energy to solve. And the more you notice this, the more you realize how much mental space you've been giving to things that never deserved it in the first place. You were never designed to live fully trapped inside that endless mental simulation, constantly running scenarios, analyzing every detail, overthinking every interaction. That's why music can suddenly feel alive when you stop dissecting it and simply let it wash over you. That's why sunsets hit you in a completely different way when you stop narrating the colors, stop judging the shapes, and just allow yourself to experience them. That's why the moments that stay etched in your memory, the ones that truly move you, rarely come with internal commentary. They come from pure presence, from allowing yourself to be fully in the moment, soaking in reality without the constant running commentary of your mind. When you finally stop allowing your thoughts to dominate every moment, to be the star of the show, you begin to experience life directly instead of endlessly dissecting, judging, or replaying it in your head. You start noticing the textures, the subtleties, the small details that were always there, but buried beneath mental chatter. Here's a truth most people are never taught. Silence isn't merely the absence of noise or activity, it's far more than that. Silence is a doorway, a portal to genuine awareness, a space where clarity, intuition, and presence quietly emerge when you step out of the constant mental commentary. When you're trapped in the endless loop of mental narration, your attention rarely lives in the present moment. It's constantly two steps ahead of your body, reliving past mistakes, anticipating what might happen tomorrow, running through imaginary conversations, or endlessly updating a mental to-do list that never ends. You're physically here, but mentally elsewhere. You could be strolling through a sunlit park, feeling the warmth on your skin and the gentle breeze on your face. Yet if your mind is replaying a fight from 3 days ago, your nervous system is fooled. It reacts as if the conflict is happening right now. That's the astonishing power of thought. It can make yesterday feel like today, and make your mind hijack your reality without you even noticing. But here's the paradox. Your thoughts only have power over you if you hand it to them. You are not a helpless prisoner to the constant mental chatter. The truth is, you're just so accustomed to reacting to every passing thought as if it were an urgent alert demanding immediate attention. Every fleeting worry, every passing judgment, every what if feels like a siren. But most of the time, it's nothing more than background noise. It doesn't need action. It doesn't need your energy. And yet, because you've trained yourself to respond automatically, your mind hijacks your focus again and again, pulling you away from the clarity and presence that are always available if you simply pause. Ever notice how a completely random negative thought can appear out of nowhere and instantly shift your mood, like a switch flipped inside your mind? You feel it tugging at your focus, pulling you down before you even realize it. But if you take a step back and trace it, you'll often find it has no true origin, no real trigger, no urgent reason to exist. It's not reality speaking, it's habit. A loop your mind has rehearsed so many times it has become automatic, like a mental muscle strengthened by overuse. The more you fed it attention, the stronger and faster it reacts, hijacking your state before conscious choice even has a chance to intervene. This is exactly where stillness transforms into a superpower. And make no mistake, it's not passive. It's not simply sitting there doing nothing. True stillness is an active choice. It's stepping back, detaching your sense of self from the endless mental commentary, and recognizing that you don't need to think through every single detail to get it right. Some of the most powerful decisions you've ever made, the ones that felt instinctively correct, the ones you trusted in your gut, came from this very space. You didn't overanalyze them. You didn't argue with yourself, debate every possible outcome, or convince yourself into action or inaction. You simply knew, and that knowing emerged effortlessly from a clarity that only silence and presence can create. That deep intuitive intelligence lying beneath the surface of your constant thoughts isn't chaotic or unreliable. On the contrary, it's profoundly calm, steady, and grounded. It doesn't demand your nonstop mental input to function. It simply is. And here's where it gets truly transformative. When you give yourself permission to stop thinking all the time, you don't lose awareness, you gain it. You begin to perceive subtleties you never noticed before, feel emotions more fully, and experience life in a flow that doesn't require micromanaging every moment. The more you release the compulsion to overthink, the more life begins to reveal itself naturally, effortlessly, and with an unexpected clarity that your mind alone could never create. Because true clarity isn't born from overanalyzing or endlessly running through scenarios in your mind. It doesn't arrive by forcing your thoughts to line up perfectly or solving every problem before it even exists. Real clarity emerges when you allow yourself to pause, to become still, and to finally notice the layers of insight, understanding, and awareness that were already present all along, quietly waiting beneath the noise you've been carrying. Here's a truth few people ever point out about overthinking. The problem isn't just what you're thinking, it's the nonstop pressure to mentally narrate every single moment of your life. Eating breakfast becomes a play-by-play in your head. Walking to work turns into a running commentary. Even when you try to relax, your mind keeps giving feedback. Am I doing this right? Should I be doing something else? Did I miss something? Every simple action gets layered with mental narration, as if life itself needs a constant voiceover, and it leaves you exhausted without you even realizing it. The mind has a way of convincing you that it always needs to provide commentary, assign judgment, and label every single moment of your life. It tells you that you must analyze, interpret, and categorize constantly, or risk missing something important. But that constant internal chatter doesn't just wear you out, it pulls you away from actually living. There's a profound difference between truly being in the moment and being trapped inside your head about the moment. One feels effortless, like breathing. The other feels intrusive, like you're under continuous surveillance, monitoring yourself instead of simply experiencing. You aren't a machine designed to process reality. You're a being meant to experience it. And that's why you're not supposed to think all the time. The more energy you spend narrating every second, the less present you are. There are layers of awareness that unlock only when you stop chasing them mentally. Subtle bodily sensations, emotions that don't need fixing, ideas that rise naturally. It's like tuning into a radio station that's been playing under all the static. Presence becomes your bridge to intelligence, the kind that doesn't need a checklist to know what feels right. When you live from presence instead of endless thought, something subtle but profound happens. You stop needing to prepare for everything, not because you stop caring, but because you've trained yourself to respond with clarity in real time. That presence is your power. Decision-making becomes natural, instinctive, almost effortless. You're not 10 steps ahead mentally, you're fully here. Less reactive, less drained, more grounded, and here's the twist. You don't reach this state by forcing it, you access it by realizing it's already here. You don't need to earn stillness, you just need to stop running from it. Silence has become suspicious in our world. Not doing, not thinking, not reacting. People assume something is wrong. And maybe you feel that itch too, like you're falling behind if your mind isn't spinning at full speed. But what if silence isn't emptiness? What if it's where life actually speaks? The problem isn't thinking itself. It's that no one ever taught you how to listen without thinking over it. A whole layer of experience is hidden behind the noise, between breaths, between words, between thoughts. And in that space, life starts to show up. You become more intuitive, move with clarity, react less, feel more. You even begin to enjoy doing nothing, not from laziness, but because you're finally no longer at war with stillness. Here's the hard truth. You don't need to fill every quiet moment with thought. Some of the deepest insights, most important shifts, emerge when you stop mentally wrestling with everything and simply feel your way into them. There's intelligence in the quiet, a knowing that isn't verbal, but shows up in calm responses, deep sleep, and the groundedness you bring to ordinary life. You don't need to abandon thinking altogether. You just need to stop treating it as the only voice worth hearing. When you give space for awareness, even just a little, you'll notice that life has been trying to communicate with you all along. It doesn't shout, it whispers. The freedom that comes from this isn't about achieving goals or fixing flaws. It's about realizing you don't have to mentally chase everything to live fully. You don't need to respond to every thought, dissect every moment, or control every outcome. Some things just need your presence. That's all. You weren't taught that it's okay to move through life without narrating every moment. But it is. You're allowed to exist without constant problem solving. You're allowed to simply be. The people who radiate calm, presence, and magnetic energy aren't smarter or more capable. They've simply stopped overthinking. They've learned that intelligence doesn't have to shout. Sometimes it quietly observes, waits for what matters, and then responds with clarity rather than clutter. Awareness is already here, not buried under books or breakthroughs, but beneath the noise, quietly waiting. If you've been feeling exhausted, mentally overwhelmed, or weighed down, maybe it's not because you're broken. Maybe it's because you're thinking too much about things that never needed your attention. Let your mind be a tool, not your home. And when silence comes, don't rush to fill it. Welcome it. Let it remind you what it feels like to be here, without needing to explain, solve, or control. If you've made it this far, comment below. I'm not my thoughts. Just those words. And if you can, share this with someone trapped in mental overdrive. They might need the pause just as much as you do. Stay present. Stay grounded. Protect your peace. It's priceless, and it always has been. If this message resonated with your spirit, consider sharing it. Someone out there might be carrying the same questions, the same doubts, the same quiet hope, and your sharing might be the reminder they need. Stay true. Stay kind, stay you. For more insights on philosophy, personal growth, and the art of clear thinking, subscribe and turn on notifications. Flow through life and embrace the journey of thought with curiosity and insight. Seek truth, seek wisdom, and remember to question everything. Until next time, stay curious.